the clip that we have here is from the first episode, and it's the sort of formation of the team, and it's Ren, who is the pitcher who every year goes out for the team and sucks, and they put him in the Les Nessman left field, sort of stay away from us world. And the new kid comes to town, and he's a catcher, and he's really good, and he sees everybody's strengths. So this is sort of setting up how they're going to succeed as a team.
Riveting stuff. Although Sean used to always say that hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things in sports.
Yeah, it's true. Round bat, round ball. You fail 2/3 of the time, and you go to the Hall of Fame. Have you ever once thrown a baseball in your life?
Yeah.
Did you hate it?
Softball and baseball. Yes. I hated every minute of it.
Why did you do it?
I had to. It was sports for school.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, big wind-up. There's like 13 or 14 episodes.
Oh, there's a shorty.
Yeah, so it's short. That clip looks like shit, but the actual show looks good.
There's a bunch of baseball anime.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that in Japan
it's a big sport,
it's huge. But this is, I think, a fun sort of coming together, and it's not 190 episodes. Like you can watch it and move on to another show. But I really liked it. It got me in the feels, and it reminded me of what a terrible baseball player I am.
Gotcha.
And my last show of some of my favorite sports animes is Fighting Spirit, or Hijimi no Oppo.
Ippo, I think.
Whatever. So this show is also the kind of young, vulnerable kid gets his ass kicked, goes to the boxing gym, and sort of finds out that he has this amazing boxing talent. But unlike some of the other shows where it's like they draw it out of him, this show is a lot of like hard work and dedication. It's like one long Rocky montage over and over and over again.
Sounds awesome.
With a like Glass Joe punch out sort of vibe to it. So I've only seen the first season, which is like 27-ish episodes. There's 3 seasons. There's a couple of OVAs. It's really fun. This is the open for the show, which is really the only thing that I could find that sort of shows the animation for it. So let's check that out, and then we can talk about it. So Ippo's the main hero of the show, and it's basically just get in, work hard, and you will overcome. And it's not the sort of hyper realistic or overly fanciful take. It's more like a legitimate. You gotta do 4,000 sit-ups and punch somebody in the face.
Like Rocky IV, super realistic.
Yeah. So it's like you just inject yourself with the horse drugs and then punch the thing, and the big meter goes up. So it's
nice.
But anyway, it's I like it. It makes cool. I like the boxing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've always wanted to check it out.
So those are some of our favorite sports anime, and unlike the last few weeks, we actually have your answers.
Yep.
So we have some of Adult Swim Facebook's. Oh, are we going to have a little reveal?
Whoa.
2016 graphics package in effect.
People are with you on Hajime no Ippo, Haikyuu, Ice Shield 21, Kuroko no Basketball, that's slam dunk and ping pong. So looks like Adult Swim Facebook's fans are about as familiar with sports anime as we are.
Yeah. We did eliminate one King of the Hill.
Yeah, no,
anime,
we've had enough of
it's
the King of the Hill jokes.
Just
ringing that bell too many times.
It's been there. We get it. It's hilarious. Stop.
King of the Hill. Got it.
And up next for Toonami Facebooks, which is facebook.com/Toonami. Always your best source of pre-flight related materials.
Pretty much the same, except Prince of Tennis and Ace of Diamond, which I'm assuming is another baseball show.
No, it's a cards show, actually.
I would be super psyched if
poker.
it was.
No, it's a baseball show.
It'd be awesome if it was like I got throwing a card down.
It's the 1980s game show Card Sharks, but it's an anime serialized version of that. So it's
send
just
people to Google with that
higher
reference.
and lower. I found the letter that I wrote as a 9-year-old applying to be a contestant on Card Sharks when I was cleaning out my mom's house earlier. And it was pretty hilarious.
You would.
I can't believe that they didn't pick me. I was totally crushed.
So moving on, we have a music video that our editor Sarah cut for you guys.
So this will be running in Toonami this coming week, tomorrow night, in that coveted 12:15 commercial break, the A gap, the A break, as they call it. So let's check out the video, and if you don't want to get it spoiled, don't watch. How many Toonami promos do you think have gone out with Click Explosion?
Hopefully,
all of
many. There's never enough, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
If I could end every broadcast with us being like,
we'll get talkback buttons that look like explosive plungers, and we'll just go out with a new explosion every time. But,
we also have another music video. This is from our friends in the band Animal Collective, who you may or may not have heard of, but they're really good. They gave us their new music video for their song Floridada from their upcoming album. It's an animated video, and it's really beautiful, so we thought, why not premiere that? So thanks, Animal Collective, and here's your look at Floridada. So yeah, nice. Pretty cool video, I think.
I agree.
And then lastly, we have a Bloom Room. It's been a little while since we heard from Steve.
Yeah, he with the holidays and our pre-recordings for our holidays and his busy schedule. But this is a visit that Steve took to the Sword in the Stone, I believe it's called, where he
is he King Arthur?
Where he removed the sword from the stone, and he is now the King of England.
Wow,
so
that is a big. That's
it. He seems to think that he still will have enough time to be able to do Bloom Rooms, but also do the voice of Tom amongst his
maybe Merlin
more ceremonial duties as a representative parliamentary. England doesn't really need a monarchy to have a ruler, but it's more of a figurehead. But anyway, Sword in the Stone, where Steve had a sword made and hopefully used it responsibly. So let's check it out.
Yo, welcome back to the Bloom Room. You know, one of the greatest things about having a nerd for a girlfriend is that all she wanted for Christmas was a sword. So we went to the best place in the world to find that. It's called The Sword in the Stone. It's run by Tony Swatton, who is a world-famous blacksmith. He's created some of the greatest props for some of the greatest movies you've ever seen. Not only did we find a sword there, he made it for us while we waited. Join us on a little journey to The Sword in the Stone. Sword in the Stone is located in Burbank, California. Founded 25 years ago by master blacksmith Tony Swatton. The shop specializes in custom-made arms, armor, and props for television, film, and serious collectors. Not every store you can walk in that has cannonballs. Tony also makes full suits of armor, battle axes, anything you can imagine. If you can think it up or you have a picture of what you want, he can fabricate it out of anything. One has interesting thoughts when one wears a gauntlet. Oh, so cool. We just went in to buy a sword that he already had, but we've kind of become friends with Tony, and he gave us a tour of his workshop. There in the back, we saw this really cool sword handle that looked like it might be part of a weapon carried by one of Mary's characters from a video game called Diablo 3 and Heroes of the Storm from Blizzard. The blade attached to it was just a raw piece of aluminum. We decided to do a special order and have him finish the piece for her, which normally would take weeks. But Tony told us that he could do it while we wait. An amazing opportunity to watch a master at work.
This is called the Wheel of Death. And yet he survived. Amazing.
He ground the blade in a series of steps that took it from a rough piece of aluminum to a finely polished piece of art in about a half an hour.
It's the loin of beef.
Chirpy.
Wow. Oh my God.
Wow.
It is an exquisite thing.
While he was making the blade, we got to walk around the workshop and check out all the other cool stuff he had in there. One of the things I think I loved the most was Robin Williams' sword from Hook and Rufio's belt buckle. There were all sorts of knives and swords, things that he had done in workshops and hadn't completed, and other stuff that he just didn't get around to selling yet. He also had a ton of cool stuff from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, where he was almost solely responsible for most of the weaponry. I can't tell you how many times I geeked out in this place. So as we approach the next episode of Toonami, we go in fully armed and ready for battle. See you next time on the Bloom Room.
Sweet man, that's Steve.
I do not have enough custom-made swords in my life, and my New Year's resolution will be to do something about that in 2016.
I don't think I need a custom-made sword, personally, but I'm happy for
your
Steve.
Your name is a killing word, and that is enough for you?
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, hopefully you enjoyed another episode of Toonami Preflight. Thank you, Steve, for a Bloom Room. Thank you, Sarah, for a music video. Thank you, Animal Collective, for an amazing animated video. Thank you, Jason, for your... favorite
George Martin. George R. R.
Thank you, George, for finally
thank me for Game of Thrones.
Finally talking out loud about maybe thinking about writing some more Game of Thrones.
It's a process.
But I don't want to. I mean, I know you're an artist, and it's just kind of a drag to always be asked about.
It takes time
when books are going to be out. So
I got to train to conduct. Presents to bring children around the world.
Well, I think you've
you
should have some free time after the holidays to start
all right,
growing your beard and
thank you for
eating your sandwiches.
Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
All right, see you. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to our 41st episode of Toonami Preflight, the first of 2016. Happy New Year, Jason.
Is that number right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Happy New Year. It's the
45th.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
40th. 41st, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, well, I meant 45th. I think I just said first.
Cool.
45th.
Off to a good start this year.
Happy New Year. It's not even really the New Year. Spoiler alert. Today's episode is a samurai edition. We're going to be talking about Samurai Champloo and some of our favorite samurai movies. We have a message from Dana, who is back from the... Would you say dead? Back from the offline?
Mostly dead.
Mostly dead all day. And then we have a lineup promo for our new lineup that will have Champloo. We have... a reminder of the Toonami mixtape, which dropped yesterday.
Yesterday, New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. So let's get into some Samurai Champloo.
Hey!
Samurai Champloo aired in Japan in 2004, and then on Adult Swim Action in 2005.
Yeah, they got it pretty quick.
Which was faster than I remembered it being until I started looking up.
Quick
I thought
turnaround.
it was a longer...
Well, I think it was on the heels of Bebop, and I don't remember the details, but I feel certain that they had reached out to, programming and said, hey, the guy who did Bebop's got another show, because it was sort of, they knew how much Lazo loved Bebop, so I guarantee...
A very similar pitch of the Space Dandy pitch.
Yeah, hey! But I guarantee that was part of why it ended up on the air so fast. And it's a really good dub, a lot of good voices. Of course, Steve Bloom again.
Friend of the show.
But, it ran for more than one run. It ran like 2 or 3 times.
I think it was not quite the end of the second run. Yeah. I don't think it made it all the way through twice, but I could be mistaken about that.
So, we always felt like we were always looking at it from afar, because we were, in kids' Toonami land, and this show just wasn't really appropriate, and Adult Swim Action was sort of going at that point, and we kept having to watch amazing shows like Gundam 0083 and Bebop and Fooly Cooly and Champloo go to Adult Swim, and it was painful to watch because we always felt like those are Toonami shows, but they're just a little too old for
are now
Kids Network, right? So we had an opportunity. We were trying to get a show for Michiko and Hachin's replacement, and we actually looked into the Lupin III, the Legend of Fujiko Hime or Mine. Anyway, you guys know. But we couldn't get it because too many boobies. So we had to get another show. And we kind of just felt like it would be cool to bring back a show that hadn't been on the air for almost 10 years. Although, of course, some complainers came out of the woodwork like, you literally have showed it forever. And it's like, no, you're confusing it with Bebop. But so now we get to show
also a good show.
Now we get to show it in HD. Standards have changed somewhat, so you'll see a little more of the violence. So it should be fun. We were relishing an opportunity to work with the show. And in fact, we cut a pretty sweet promo. We'll also show you the original Adult Swim action promo just because I think it's funny. It's pretty bush.
Not as sweet.
It's pretty bush. But here, let's check out our sweet promo right now. So yeah, no copy in that one.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it needed it.
Johnny did a great job.
He did. Thanks, Johnny. Johnny Ray, our editor, who cut that. We gave him the song by Photek called Niten Ichi Ryu, or Two Swords Technique, which will tie into something later. But yeah, we just felt like, I always felt like that song would be perfect in a samurai promo of some kind, and finally got the opportunity to use it. Yeah. The show itself is actually known more for hip-hop because one of the great things about Champloo is that the show takes place mostly during Edo period Japanese history, and it pulls from from real events to a looser degree.
Sort of a modern-ish, almost steampunky at moments.
A little bit, yeah.
Tokugawa shogunate style.
Yeah, but there's like hip hop. It's like there's hip hop in that world in this show, and there are rap battles and stuff like that. So it's an idea that on paper could be like, oh god, this is going to be terrible. But because it's Shinichiro Watanabe who did Bebop and so many other great shows, he pulled it all together, and stylistically it does have some similarities to Bebop in terms of its tone and feel. It has a great grasp of drama. The main characters are all sort of loners who happen to be together as a team, but they all have complicated backstories. They're all sort of weirdos. Like it's a really great show. The music, of course, Nujabes, particularly all the beats and the hip hop in the show are sort of known among anime fans because it really took like a different direction from every other anime, and still you don't see much of that in anime, but a lot of great music in the show from Fat John, Nujabes, and producers like that. And, I keep hearing from hip-hop producers now that they were influenced by watching Champloo on Adult Swim and hearing all those beats. And funnily enough, I had no idea, but at the time, I was giving Fat John beats to the Bump guys to use on Adult Swim at the same time as they were airing that show. And I had no idea that Fat John did music for that show until he told me, like, well after the fact. So yeah, just a cool thing that show ended up inspiring sort of more hip-hop, which I'm sure would make Watanabe happy were he to hear that.
I think he watches this show. I'm pretty sure that he's a loyal Preflight viewer.
Have you seen all of Champloo?
I have. I haven't seen all of it in a while. I started rewatching it for today and did not make it through all 26.
Quitter.
Because I'm
You're
just a sad sack. But I'm excited to see. I mean, the HD looks great.
Yeah, it's going to look beautiful. And I'm glad we get to show it in HD. And just one more time. I mean, I don't know how well it's going to do. We're hoping certainly that it does well. Michiko and Hachin, which people are like, why couldn't you get another new show like Michiko and Hachin? It's like, that show's from 2007. This one's from 2004. So I just think Michiko and Hachin kind of
that was kind of a found show for a lot of people, and this is more of a known show.
Yeah, so
for better or for worse on both sides.
So it could do well because of that, or it could be not as well. We're hoping it does well. We think it fits in with the lineup really well, and we always wanted the chance. We were greedy, like we want to show when Toonami's done running, we want to have shown as many classic, groundbreaking anime or other shows as humanly possible during our run. So we had to have another little jewel in our crown, and Champloo is one of them. Selfish, I know. But the reaction's been pretty positive overall. Most people are super psyched.
Yeah.
There's always a few people who aren't, but Toonami's not perfect and never will be. So
welcome to the internet.
If you're interested in samurai stuff with sort of a twist, if you're into Bebop, if you haven't seen this show, now's a very good opportunity. If you're looking for some samurai action to keep you going until Samurai Jack, I would say Champloo is, along with Kenshin, those are the two sort of best samurai anime for me.
Yeah.
So check it out. Now, before we stop talking about it, let's show the Adult Swim action promo, which I don't know who cut this. It wasn't Cahill. It might have been Hamid.
Would it not have been Hamid?
I mean, I have no idea. So we weren't working on Adult Swim Action at the time where this aired. We kind of launched Adult Swim Action and worked on it for a year or two, and then we kind of became too busy. And at the time Champloo aired, we were working full-time on Toonami, and that we were consulted on Adult Swim Action in terms of shows, but we had nothing to do with the promotion. So this was cut by probably Hamid, who still creates our bumps, and I think he wanted to give the vibe of it being a hip-hop samurai show. So check out the promo he put together.
You should remember. Pull your swords out. Gene and Fu. Samurai Champloo.
So, you know, not...
I like the Adult Swim Kiss
the,
logo, though.
Not too dissimilar from our promo, just a different type of music and a slightly looser cut, I feel. But using a lot of the same scenes.
I think they probably had the same episodes.
Same few episodes.
Delivery that we had.
So, yeah, Samurai Champloo coming...
Tomorrow,
1:30. Only Toonami or several streaming services.
And previously on Adult Swim.
All right, so let's move on to our question of the week, which was driven by the acquisition of Champloo. And that question is, what's your favorite samurai film?
Do you want to go first, Jason?
Yes.
I think you're scheduled to do so.
I'm scheduled to go first. So I'll start with one I've already talked about in a previous context.
Star Wars?
Could be. We're going to start with the classic 1970s film Shogun Assassin, a.k.a. Lone Wolf and Cub, a.k.a. Baby Cart on the River Styx. This is a series of 6 films released in the 70s based off of the classic manga by Kazuo Koike, which is my favorite manga. And it concerns one of the shogun's executioner, which was a very honored position in that era of Japan. His wife is murdered, and he is wrongly accused of the murder. And rather than doing what a normal samurai would do at the time, which would be to commit seppuku and kill themselves, because it was the honorable thing to do, whether or not you were guilty, he takes his kid. He gives his kid a choice. If the kid reaches for I think it's a ball. If he puts a ball and a knife in front of his baby, and he says, "If you reach for the ball, I'm gonna kill you and end your misery. If you reach for the sword, we are gonna walk the path of death." And the kid reaches for the sword. So he takes his newborn, and basically they go on a revenge spree. Hunting down the people. It's the Yagyu clan, the ninja clan, who did this, and they did it as a political move, as it turns out. So it's a really dark but totally awesome setup, and it is probably one of the most straight-up badass samurai collections of films, period. They're not always quite up to the standard of like Kurosawa or something like that, but just as a sheer badass action movie, they are pretty much unmatched. I mean, that's like, you imagine if there were 6 John Wick movies and he took that puppy with him while he killed everybody, then you'd kind of have an idea of how badass they are. So let's check out the trailer for this is the Americanized, this is almost a compilation movie more than anything. They took the first movie, excised 15 minutes of sort of backstory, which is the setup, and then the rest of this is the second movie. They kind of smushed them together. And I first saw these movies with this dubbed version. So like Quentin Tarantino, who put this in Kill Bill, I have a fondness for this dumb dubbed version. And of course, it's heavily sampled by the Wu-Tang Clan. So all of us olds of a certain era have a fondness for seeing this movie in this form. I also own all the Japanese versions, so I can get the uncut, full story subtitled. But I genuinely enjoy this dub as well in a goofy, sort of nostalgic way. So check out the trailer for Shogun Assassin.
Turn to the vanished kingdoms of ancient times. Journey through a lost empire, mad wizards, and barbaric passions. Behold the saga of a legendary warrior, loving father, who has the power of a dozen armies in one sweep of his mystic blade. This is a story of honor, grace, vengeance, massacre, man who became a demon. Shogun Assassin. Once, he was the greatest of the magnificent samurai. Now, he hunts the evil lords who butchered his wife and stained his honor. One man and one child defy the most notorious masters of death on the planet. Like father, like son, honor, meet the greatest team in the history of mass slaughter. Nothing on Earth can match their infernal fury. Nothing on the screen can match this awesome spectacle of sword and sorcery. Shogun Assassin.
You will note in that trailer that Ogami Ito, the main character, also uses Niten Ichiryu two swords technique, which we will talk about in a little bit.
Continuing
so
seated.
The next movie I want to talk about, I'm cheating with these because they're series of movies, but whatever, you'll live. So the next of my favorite samurai movies are the Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman movies. So Zatoichi in Japan is a cultural institution. I mean, there have been 26 Zatoichi movies. Criterion recently released a totally gorgeous Blu-ray box set of all of them that I've been slowly making my way through again. There was also a TV series that had 100 episodes. So Zatoichi was like a big deal in Japan. So every year, basically, from like, I think it was from 1962, and then they stopped in the late 70s and then picked up back again in the 80s.
Just like all the Bond movies.
There was a Zatoichi movie. And they all star the amazing Shintaro Katsu, except for there was a remake in the early 2000s by Beat Takeshi Kitano, which I didn't really care for. But all the rest of it is starring Shintaro Katsu, who is an amazing actor. He was actually a stage actor who was reluctant to do this role because he kind of thought, like, martial arts bullshit, come on. And it just blew up, and he just basically decided, okay, guess I'm going to be Zatoichi forever, and that's it, because that's all that people will see me as. He is not blind, obviously, he's an actor. But basically, Zatoichi is a wandering, itinerant sort of, he's a masseuse / gambler. And the great thing, I mean, Zatoichi's like, this is an old reference, and I can't think of like a better modern reference, but so imagine if Columbo was a total badass. Like, not just a badass in terms of his brain, but a physical ass kicker. That's kind of Zatoichi. He bumbles from... It's got an amazing structure that allows Zatoichi...
Hey, it's virus scan time.
You could sort of do anything you want with the Zatoichi movies. There are some that are comedies, there are some that are dramas, there are some that are romance, there's always tons of action, and it's always sort of like the Incredible Hulk style. Like, he blows into town, and he's always poor. He has a cane that's actually got a sword in it. He always pretends to be just sort of a dipshit blind guy, and people always sort of underestimate him. Meanwhile, there's this rumor of this incredible assassin who kills people called Zatoichi, and there's always a price on his head. So it's a weird dichotomy where he meets people and he's like, yeah, I'm Zatoichi. And they're like, no, you're not. Zatoichi's a total badass. You're just a putz who wants money, you know? So he's giving massages for money, and like all he cares about is food and getting drunk and trying to have sex with girls. So he's weirdly like a great sort of earthy piece of shit, but he also is always trying to help poor people, downtrodden people. Like, he has a moral code that's very strong. He kind of has a mysterious backstory that they delve into now and again. Seems like he's always got some girl whose heart he broke, who he couldn't be with because he doesn't deserve their love. You know, there's always like... But they're just great, like, folktale type movies, and they always have incredible action sequences. There's amazing stuff like him hearing how dice roll so he can win at gambling. Like, he's a superhero who's for the people. I mean, it's the kind of thing you've seen time and time again in every culture. But I have a particular fondness for Zatoichi because he's hilarious, and the actor who plays him is just, I mean, it's a virtuoso performance. So I urge you, if you haven't seen any Zatoichi movies, do make some time and watch some. it's really interesting how they fit into the times that they are shot in. The first couple are black and white because they were shot in the 60s. Then it moves into color. Then in the 70s, they get real funky and weird. And then in the 80s, they sort of get more low budget. Like, it's just really interesting to see how they reflect the era in which they were made. So I think we have a clip of Zatoichi here to show you. Oh, this is probably, but this is a promo for the box set, the Criterion set, that all of you should save money and get. He usually does shit like that to win a bet. He's like, I don't have any money. Bet you I can cut that candle without disturbing the flame. They're always like, shut up! And then he does stuff like that. So, Zatoichi, my second, among my favorites. And then...
Did I get him to...
Yeah. The third and final film series I'm going to talk about is the Samurai films, and that is the title, Samurai 1, Samurai 2, and Samurai 3. Actually, you could just say the Samurai movies, but Samurai 2 is a very good one, Duel at Ichijoji Temple. So these films were made in the 50s. So basically, in 1950, the American occupation of Japan was ending, and there was a rule up until 1950 that said you couldn't produce any films that took place during feudal Japan, because they wanted to, basically they just wanted to not have Japanese people make nationalist films, because they thought that the nationalist spirit is what led to, them joining the Axis. So, right or wrong. So when the American occupation ended, that rule obviously was lifted, and so there was a flood of samurai films that started taking place in the 50s, starting with Akira Kurosawa and Rashomon in 1950, and then I believe Seventh Samurai was 1952, and so the Samurai trilogy came out in 1954. There was one movie a year, and then the first one won the Best Foreign Film Oscar in 1954, so they were a big deal. They were sort of like the Gone with the Wind of Japan at the time. They were unusual for their time because they were shot in color, and as you'll see if you watch samurai movies, a lot of them from the 50s and 60s were in black and white because it was so much cheaper. These films were all in color. They star the great Toshiro Mifune, who of course is a legendary actor who was made famous by his role in The Seventh Samurai, but has did a ton of great work with Kurosawa and others. And he plays a real life character, Masashi Miyamoto, who is almost like a folklore character in Japanese history. He's sort of like, this is a facile comparison, but he's sort of like a Jesse James or even Bruce Lee. Like, he created his own school of swordsmanship called Niten Ichiryu.
Boom.
Two swords technique. So
25 minutes later, he drops it.
Well, it's called a payoff.
No, I wasn't being sarcastic.
So basically, he started out as a wandering sort of brute who got in tons of duels. He's famous for getting in all these duels and killing all these people. And then he founded his own sword school, which was based on the idea of using a smaller sword with a larger sword, not in every fight, but just when you're outnumbered. And he wrote basically a book of philosophical tenets that people follow to this day. So he's sort of a legendary figure. And, these movies for Japan are sort of like Westerns for us. So the Samurai trilogy is a very mythic retelling of his life story. Most of which centers around his forming of his ideas about honor and swordsmanship, and also his rivalry with another great swordsman, Sasaki Kojiro, who is totally amoral as compared to he's sort of portrayed in these movies as moral. These movies are based on a book that's a 1,000-page book by Eiji Yoshikawa, which is a really good book. You should read it if you would care at all about Japanese history, and it's called Musashi. It's available pretty much in any bookstore. In Japan, it's sort of a book that it's like, oh yeah, Gone with the Wind, I read it. Like, it's It's a book a lot of people know about. So these movies are terrific. They sort of, along with the Kurosawa films, they sort of set a standard for, like, there's a duel in the third of these movies that takes place on the beach. That's a widely referenced, copied duel. There's a bunch of scenes in this that Tarantino lifted from Kill Bill. I mean, these are seminal movies. They don't get as much attention as the Kurosawa movies because I think as time goes on, some things people just keep remembering and some things sort of fade more. These aren't quite as, I would say they're not as good as a Kurosawa movie, but they're still amazing. So here's a scene. This is a climactic scene from, I think, the first movie, or it might be the second movie, but there's a lot of scenes of him fighting like 100 guys, and this is one of them, so check it out. That's based on a real fight. That's from the second movie, Duel at Ganryu Temple, and it's based on a real fight where he took on a whole school of rival swordsmen. So, yeah, he left his mark. If you can live in the 1600s and they're still making movies about you and people are still talking about you now, you left a mark.
Do you think they'll still be talking about this episode in
No.
400 years?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Probably not. I agree with that.
Unless we get to something that I don't know we're going to get to.
You didn't look at the second page of the rundown.
Damn, Revelations.
It's about to go off. So my first collection of some of my favorite samurai movies is Yojimbo. And we have the trailer for the Criterion collection that we'll watch in a second. But this is Kurosawa, 1961. And you were talking about how samurai movies were Westerns for, like, it's sort of a similar feeling. I didn't realize until this Criterion collection came out that A Fistful of Dollars, which generally borrows from Yojimbo, wasn't actually officially licensed, that Sergio Leone just
bid it.
Did it and then got sued. But I
was
always
like,
assumed,
it's inspiration.
It's like, yeah, no, you come to town and you pit two rivaling factions against each other and you make a lot of money.
It's because the Italian film industry had no money, so they couldn't.
Yeah, he was like, I'd like to license this. And he said, here is 1 lira. And then they said, well, let's just see if anybody knows this. And it turns out they did. But they're both great movies. But this is the trailer for Yojimbo for the Criterion Collection. So Toshiro Mifune stars as Yojimbo, or bodyguard, and he comes to town and realizes that these two sort of warring factions are totally decimating the town, and he decides to pit them against each other and make some money and also save the townspeople, hopefully, in the process. But a great movie if you have not seen it. My second movie comes from the well-known samurai director Jim Jarmusch, and Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, which was in 1999 with Forrest Whitaker, which Jim Jarmusch wrote the movie for Forrest Whitaker and said that basically if he wasn't going to do it, then they wouldn't make the movie. But he is a hitman.
No pressure
for the mob. I don't think that's how he pitched it.
I mean, you don't have to take the role, but if you don't, then the movie's done. And
there's a lot of people that are going to be out of work,
I mean,
and it's really on you.
It's up to you, Forrest.
But Forrest Whitaker is a hitman for the mob, and a specific one gangster, and he has this code of the samurai that he lives by. And the movie is sort of set up that he has to go and kill somebody, and he decides to spare this one woman's life, and then they realize that he's the only one who can pin the murder on them. So, surprisingly enough, the mob wants to go after the hitman in a story that's never been told before.
It's a samurai becoming a ronin.
Yeah. But this is a scene from later on, and there's some adult language and situations in this scene. So if you have sensitivities to the such, then just plug your ears. Let's check it out. So yeah, that's a sort of pivotal scene. That's the start of the revenge of whether or not Forrest Whitaker is going to be able to basically kill everyone, or if they're going to be able to kill him, which is sort of a classic samurai tale.
I've run into it many times.
And lastly, for me, is I always say this wrong, but harikiri,
yeah.
Or seppuku, which is 1962.
1962.
Boom, nailed it. So this movie, the sort of plot of this movie is, as Ronin were out of money and looking for basically the honorable way out, they would go to a feudal lord and say that they want to commit seppuku or harikiri, and sometimes the lords would hire them. So there was sort of a time where people would go and sort of try and bluff the fact that they were
super
going
high
to.
stakes begging, basically.
Yeah, so it's
give me a job or I'm going to kill myself. Well,
so the start of this movie is finding out that one of these lords realized that this was a
ruse.
Oh yeah, and so he made the guy kill himself. Anyway, he had a bamboo sword, and he was so incensed that he had him kill himself, and it was really horrific. And so this movie starts off, and trying not to ruin the whole thing, but it's basically
it's been around for a while.
That there's a revenge tale again, and it's sort of
spoiler.
Is this guy going to be able to come in and kill everybody, or is he going to get got? So this clip that we have is actually the lead up to the final battle, but it just looks awesome, so let's check it out. They go have a beer and work out all their differences peacefully. You'll have to watch the movie to see what happens, but those are some of our favorite samurai movies, and we asked you, the Facebook viewer, and Toonami Preflight viewer, yours, but we are recording this prior to New Year's, and we do not know what your answers
question's
are.
up on Facebook right now, but we don't have all the collated data of the answers yet, but we do have, I do believe that Samurai 7 is high up in the list, or 7 Samurai, not Samurai 7. Samurai 7, cool, but yeah, 7 Samurai is definitely high up in the list. Yeah, that's number one on the Toonami Facebook anyway, is 7 Samurai.
We just saw the Adult Swim Facebook, and now we can see the Toonami Facebooks.
Yeah. Sword of the Stranger. Last Samurai for live action. Come on, dude. The Tom Cruise Whitey Goes Samurai movie? Get out of here. My favorite samurai movie is the one with Tom Cruise. Like, come on. Do a little digging, dude.
Terrible.
I mean, you know, taste is taste, but geez.
But bad taste is still bad
But
taste.
still, thank you for voting.
But as always, yes.
We
thank
really
you for
appreciate you.
taking part in the
Appreciate
Facebook
you.
poll.
You don't have good taste in samurai movies, but we appreciate you nonetheless. All right, so let's talk about our next little sneak peek of the week, which is our lineup promo for our current lineup, which starts tomorrow.
Correct.
Yeah,
With,
which is
Samurai Shampoo.
which is a bunch of great shows, a few old, a few new, something borrowed, something blue.
Some are new to you.
So check them out. Check out our lineup promo right now.
It's a new year. We're still here and stronger than ever.
Ready to do this rundown, Tom?
Let's turn it up.
Dragon Ball Z Kai dukes it out at midnight.
Tommy Got Killed fires off at 12:30.
Parasite gets out of hand at 1.
Samurai Shampoo mixes it up at 1:30.
Uncut Shippuden breaks it open at 2.
Then Pirate Out with One Piece at 2:30.
Kill la Kill takes it on at 3.
Nami, Unbreakable, Unbeatable. Every Saturday from midnight to 3:30.
I feel a pretty strong lineup, so
Indeed.
hopefully you guys agree with us in the new year. And we do
Or
have
else.
a lot more good stuff coming this year. We can't talk about it, but besides Samurai Jack, got a lot more news to come. So
But if you ever see us at a panel, ask us and we'll totally
keep
tell
watching.
you.
So then the next thing we're going to talk about is, I just wanted to highlight the Toonami mixtape we dropped yesterday. That's from Chris DeVoe, who many Toonami fans know. He's done music for Toonami since its inception. He's done a bunch of great. He did all the remixes of the Miyazaki themes for the month of Miyazaki. He did a great remix of
Wars.
of the March of the Empire for Clone Wars. So he's done so much great music over the years, and people keep going commenting on his SoundCloud or on YouTube videos, and we just end about like, hey, where's your other song that you did for Toonami? So he and I were talking, and I just said, look, why don't we just have you make a mixtape of your beats, that have been on Toonami. So this is just a mixtape of beats for Toonami fans and for anybody else. It's by Chris DeVoe, and it's called Action Inventory 2. And here is a quickie little promo for it.
From all of us us at Toonami to all of you out there.
We hope you have a happy new year.
And to ring it in style, head over to Toonami.com.
To download Addicts and Inventory Part 2, a Toonami mixtape.
Courtesy of DJ Chris DeVoe.
Please enjoy responsibly.
Go get it. It's worth getting. It's free. I mean, you can't beat free. You know, we like to try to do a free album a year or so, and we've been managing to keep that pace up. We had Lord Raja as well on Christmas Eve, so we thought New Year's Eve, why not? Don't say we never gave you anything.
And since it's New Year's Day now, this counts as our one free one for the year. So
now you can listen to it.
Stick around for 12 more months.
And then pretty soon we will the Rubble Kings soundtrack will be out too. So that's another Adult Swim music thing. But for now, we have a message from Dana for you, the Toonami fan.
The last message was her expressing her gratitude to you for her being the voice of Sarah and her enjoyment over the years, and this is her sort of welcome back message. So let's check it out.
Sarah's back, bitches! Again. Wow, so there's a new Sarah 4. I'm still doing her voice, which is a total awesome blessing. And thank you so much, Jason and Gil, for letting me continue. I love it. I'm really excited to see where this new era on the bass goes. And yeah, it's been a really emotional, I don't want to say journey, but it's been an emotional period. That sounds worse. It's been emotional to go through everything with Intruder 2. Not only from just having to answer people and figure, I had no idea what was going on, if I was coming back, if I wasn't, if Sarah was coming back, like what, I didn't even know. But also a lot of the dialogue, especially with the last episode, really hit close to home. So much so that I have this picture from, I like to take pictures in the booth if something's really weird, but I have this picture from the day that I had to read that Sarah was coming back, and I had cried so much that I'd smeared my eye makeup. So the line that really got me, and let's see if I can do this without smearing my eye makeup right now, is I'm not sure how much of the old me is gone forever and what new parts I'll find, but I'm just happy to see your face. I had an experience where I wasn't sure if I was going to come back from surgery, and when I came back on the other side, I had some subroutines missing, and I'm still going under the process of figuring out what's different and what's new. So, Sarah 4, you're a lot like me, and I welcome you. Welcome, International Sign. I'm wearing my Sarah 3 and Tom 5 dress to commemorate the event. I hope you like it, and I hope all of you have a wonderful new year. Thanks for watching Preflight, and thanks again for all the love and support when I didn't know what was going on. Bye!
And that'll do us for today.
Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you Saturday night, midnight to 3:30 a.m.
Hopefully you're relaxing right now, drinking plenty of water so that you can, party tonight. And then tomorrow night you can stay in, watch Toonami, and chill.
So yeah, and welcome Samurai Shampoo to the Toonami family and back to Adult Swim, and we will see you next time. Bye. Merry Christmas. This is a very special holiday Toonami Preflight episode. Merry Christmas, Jason.
Merry Christmas, Gil.
Today, we are going to be answering all of your... all is probably a slight exaggeration.
We're going to attempt to answer exactly 49 of the questions you, the Toonami fans, submitted in a special holiday fan Q&A blowout.
It's really going to be 50 questions, and the first question is, are you going to be answering questions today? And the answer is yes. So that's one. Now we only have 49 more to go.
The first question is, are your pants off right now?
And the answer is maybe.
Are our pants off right now? Maybe.
You'll have to stick around to the end of the show to find out for sure.
Full disclosure, we are pre-recording this, not actually on Christmas Day. But
happy pre-Christmas.
But we know you're watching this on Christmas Day, so we hope you are having a wonderful Christmas, and we hope you are taking this valuable time away from your family and using it for watching us.
Exactly.
Okay. So
you've already opened all your presents. You're sick of all your new toys.
You ate the food. Now everybody's
it's not quite time to go to the movies yet.
Yeah, everybody's starting to get on each other's nerves. If you're single, it's too early for you to go out drinking and go to the club or wherever.
You started drinking, but you haven't gone out drinking yet.
So it's perfect time for you to watch us blather about nonsense.
Toonami Preflight.
So the backstory on why we're doing this is because when Toonami first came back, Gil and I every month would answer your questions on the Toonami Tumblr. That's toonami.tumblr.com. And we would do it for about 2 hours every once a month on a Saturday or a Sunday, whenever we could. And as the Tumblr ads grew and we got more and more people, it became sort of it just wasn't as useful because we kept getting the same questions.
So as new people cycled in, it was a lot of the same questions.
Then we started doing it every couple months, and then we started going to cons, and and we finally decided, let's just do it once in a while, but we'll do it when we have anything to talk about. And so it's been a while. So thank you for submitting your questions. We got a bunch of good ones, and I think that's because it was a while. So we're going to just start going through these questions one by one. So if questions bore you, time to tap out. If questions excite you,
then if questions bore you, just stick around because your questions can be coming up later on. And today is the day. The 49th question we answer is going to be, are we going to show your favorite show on Toonami in the future? So we aren't going to answer that one until the very end, so you have to stick around.
Where we are going to call out usernames. If we don't call out the name, that means it was an anonymously submitted question, and if it was a Facebook question, we will just use your first name.
And social security number.
So here we go. Let's start with the first question. Gil, you go ahead and take it.
Do you still plan to air the last two films in the rebuild of Evangelion series when they are available?
So we have aired the first two Evangelion movies, and something, we don't know what is going on with the third one, but it looks like it may come out.
It was on Flight 93 from Australia to Los Angeles.
And God only knows what is going to happen with the fourth one. So we can't really answer questions like that because we really don't know what the scenario is going to be with the third movie, but obviously the first two did well, and if we were to show a movie and those movies were available, I personally would love to see them on Toonami.
I think it would be safe to say we still plan on doing it, per the question. We just don't know if that plan will actually come
I think actually it's safer to say we would like to do it, but that is not a plan.
The answer, we're going to limit these to one-word answers. Yeah. The answer is maybe.
I mean, exactly. I would like to retire on a beach, but that's not the same thing as having a plan to retire on the beach.
Well, you have to plan for that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I should go.
You should plan for it. Okay, so next question comes from Bringfield, and his question is, would it be possible for Logic to make a cameo on Toonami? So that refers to the rapper Logic, and he just released an album that many people are praising, and our very own Steve Bloom appears as a character. There's a story in that album. He appears as a character named Thomas on a spaceship.
No relation.
With an AI. So clearly there's a Toonami influence, although I have not seen, and Logic has many times talked about his love for anime, I haven't seen him talk about his love for Toonami, even though I'm seeing some Toonami stuff in his work.
We also haven't gotten that check in the mail yet, so.
I don't think we're going to be featuring Logic anytime soon, but obviously he loves anime, and obviously he watched Toonami, so you never know.
Maybe.
Wesley
Whiteside says, thank you for Intruder 2. You're welcome. Are there any dream projects you would like to do with Toonami that haven't been done before? He said hasn't, but that really should be haven't, so I made that correction.
Oh, that's right. You're a left brain word fetishist. I forgot.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely.
What would be one, Gil? What would be a dream project for Gil? I've never heard Gil ever talk about a dream project. This is going to be a first time. Yeah. Do you have a dream project?
No, not really.
Do you dream about anything?
No.
I just figured Gil's like a robot.
I dream of electric sheep.
Yeah, he wakes up in the morning and he's on, and then when he goes to bed, he's off, and there are no dreams or wants or desires that's just my imagination of Gil,
Yeah, for now, I think the dream project would be get Sarah a body and get a new ship, whether that's called the Absolution or not, and
legit dream projects.
Get back into
legit dream projects.
Get back into space.
I would like to also see Sarah have a body. I would also like to have the Clydes come back and play a significant role. So we'll see if the money can happen for those dream projects. But those are some ideas we have. So let's go to an anonymous question.
The answer is maybe.
What were your favorite presents that you got on Christmas? I guess this means of all time. And for me, I'll just tell this story very quickly. My favorite present was also the present I spoiled for myself and learned a very valuable life lesson. So when I was a kid, Lego did not have the sophisticated sets they have nowadays that are licensed characters.
You got one brick and you were happy about it.
The big thing they had was this Lego castle set that's very well known to everyone of a certain era, certain age. And it was a giant yellow castle. It was a huge Lego set. It was the biggest one up to that time. And I wanted it very badly. It was more expensive than my parents could normally afford to get me. And I made a big deal out of it. And I usually didn't make a big deal out of presents, but I really wanted this thing. My mom basically told me she didn't think she could get it because she was just messing with me. So one day when she wasn't home, I looked around, looked under the nooks and crannies, and I saw it under my parents' bed. And I instantly felt terrible. And it instantly taught me a lesson that sometimes it's better to enjoy a surprise. And I followed that all the way through to Toonami. So,
are these your grandparents?
But it was still.
These are not my grandparents.
No, those are not.
Sean, are these your grandparents?
Those are just somebody's grandparents, by the way. Those are not mine or Gil's. Those are some.
I think my grandfather had that.
Those
shirt,
are some very nice people. That's hopefully a stock photo that our art director for the show put up. But anyway. So I learned a valuable lesson. But it was still a dope present, so it's still my favorite present.
I have a very similar story. Our house growing up.
You discovered you were adopted. You looked under the bed and saw the adoption papers.
No, I found my binary reset code.
Oh, right. I'm a robot.
It was our house had like an electric eye across the staircase. That was like the security system, and you would flip it on. The thing was in.
Did you live in the Jetsons?
House.
What the hell?
I don't think.
What year was this?
I don't know, 86 maybe, 85.
Damn, boy.
So
do you live in Trump Towers?
Super unsophisticated because there was a banister staircase that went all the way around. My brother is not the fittest individual, so I was tasked with shimmying over the banister and dropping down onto the ground, combat rolling, and then telling him what all of our Christmas presents were. So they'd set it out. We woke up at like 2:30 in the morning into Christmas morning. Right. And I got a dirt bike, and I was super psyched. And I don't remember what my brother got, but we got it. We were
not a
high-fiving
dirt bike,
each other.
like a BMX.
Yeah, like not like a.
A dirt bike is a dirt bike.
Yeah.
You got a BMX.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure. I mean, it's a different thing. Okay.
And so then I climbed back up. We were super psyched. Come back down, and my dad still has this video somewhere. I should have brought it for today. But they're like videotaping on the first video camera ever. And it's like the one where you had like the satchel that had a portable VCR in it, and then it hooked into the camera.
Family was doing well at this point.
And my dad...
Sensors and video cameras. And
my dad did well in the early 80s. It was... that's a different story for the 90s.
Gotcha.
But so we'd already seen it, spoiled, totally surprised. Or the surprise, totally spoiled. We just started opening everything else. And my mom's like, did you not see the... bike here? And I do the worst little kid acting of all time, and it's like, oh my god, I didn't even see that. And my parents are like, you came downstairs, didn't you?
That's pretty good.
But it was still a sweet present. But yes, don't go looking for your presents, kids, on Christmas. You're going to find them, and everyone will be disappointed.
Let's look at the next one. The next question is from Taryn. I'm going to say it Taryn. It could be Tyrion, but
I think Taryn.
And that question is, why haven't any of you at Toonami tried to make Toonami its own channel apart from Adult Swim? Like,
how do they know that we haven't?
But I also like the phrasing. Why haven't any of you tried? Like, you didn't try. Any of you didn't try. Here's the thing, Taryn. We don't own Toonami. We can't decide what happens to Toonami.
Sure.
We can only influence.
All of you own. Oh wait, no,
well,
that's not
true. They do, but we can only influence what happens with Toonami. So Toonami, something becoming its own channel, I think to a layman sounds like, what's the big deal? But in reality, that takes hundreds of millions of dollars of investment and time. And even though anime was very popular at Toonami's height and still is popular enough to keep Toonami going right now, I think devoting an entire channel to it is a big financial risk with questionable upside. And were we even to try or ask, it's not really our decision to make. Turner's a very large company that owns many different networks, and Toonami is simply one piece of that puzzle. So I encourage you and everyone else, though I'm really appreciative that you love Toonami, to remember that it's just a good thing Toonami is on at all, because it wasn't for a few years. And the more you watch it, I'll just say, the more you watch it, the more you get other people to watch it, the better chances of it expanding or whatever you want to happen that's a good thing for Toonami. Those good things happen from lots of people watching it and it becoming popular.
And it does have its own streaming channel. So so
it's kind of like a network.
We did our job.
You get marathons, you get little commercials. Well, let's go to the next question. Gil, you can do this one.
Why aren't classic series like Mazinger or Starship Yamamoto shown occasionally? Do you think that means that we show them too often and they only want to see them occasionally?
I think they mean, why won't you once in a while show a really old classic show? And we'll give you a very simple answer. Gil?
People don't watch.
Ta-da! Nobody watches. You anonymous. Yeah, you anonymous. Who cares? You anonymous person in your bubble. Those shows are so old they don't even have Blu-ray releases. No one cares. Like, I care. I love those shows. But being realistic, just because I care and you care does not mean millions of people care. That's how many people need to care for it to be on Toonami. And traditionally, very old cartoons do not work anywhere on television.
A lesson that we learned in a small thing called Giant Robot Week.
You want to know what cartoons that are old work on television? Tom and Jerry and Scooby-Doo. And that's just about it. And that's because those cartoons are kind of evergreen. These cartoons were produced on the cheap in another country, dubbed even more on the cheap, and then run here 1,000 years ago and look like they were dragged through the dirt for 20 years. So while I love them,
that's a tough road that
they are not gonna be picking up new viewers. Toonami has to be able to hold a casual viewing audience in addition to the hardcore anime fan.
We run classic series like DBZ Kai and One Piece
and Samurai Champloo.
Surprise.
It won't be a surprise by the time this airs. So the next one is, can you get Toonami in Canada, please? And you know what? I love that idea. But again, we don't control that. So I urge you to write your local Canadian broadcaster and ask them.
CBS, you think?
Canadian I can't remember the name of it, but there's a Canadian broadcaster that shows Adult Swim, so they might be able to show Toonami. You should write them and ask them if they would be willing to show Toonami. We'd be willing to help.
It's true. Matt Duprees wants to know, will we ever see the character?
No, next question.
Matt Duprees wants to know, why does it seem Naruto Shippuden and One Piece keep going further back on the schedule?
Matt, you got to stop with the complaining, Matt. It's a bad look.
Matt Duprees wants to know, why are we asking so many questions?
Matt, I have to tell you, the reason those two have been pushed back farther in schedule is because they're doing better later, and newer shows are doing better earlier. They're doing well enough to continue on the block, and we're really happy because we love both of those shows. Look, nobody's stumped more for One Piece than we have, and it just happens to do well where it is. And if those two shows can't hold good numbers at 1 a.m., then they move later. That doesn't mean they're out of the block. You know what I mean? So I think if you love those two shows, you should tell all of your friends to tune in where they are. And if they start doing amazing gangbusters numbers where they are, then maybe they'll move up earlier. That's kind of how TV works. It's you, the people, voting with your eyeballs.
It's true. I think you're up now.
Oh, okay. Madman40096 asks, is there any chance the Clydes could make a comeback? The Clydes refer to the little robots that for many years were sort of floating around. They were more like probes for Toonami. We haven't had them.
One day in the
we aired one ID last year with Clydes, and nobody involved was happy with it, so we pulled it and didn't make any more because we ran out of money.
Because we hate you. Oh, wait, no, I'm not supposed to answer that.
Then we had to save our money for Intruder 2. But we do want to bring Clydes back, and I hope if Toonami continues the way it's been, you will see Clydes in the future.
We picked up a paper route in the morning, and we're hoping to put that money into escrow.
They're not going to look like these Clydes either, although I like those Clydes, but that's like you can consider those a prototype model that didn't work out.
These Clydes did not make it off the Absolution when the bomb went off.
Those are the Cleeds. Next question.
How much control do you have over programming decisions? I mean, Certainly significantly more than we did at the most This Is What You're Running time of Cartoon Network Toonami.
Yeah.
We are an active participant. That doesn't mean that we get to run whatever we want for a lot of different reasons. Money, time, availability, dubbing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I would say we have a significant...
I would say we're an equal...
We're a partner.
We're an equal voice here at Adult Swim with the programming that ends up on our block. We are not the sole decision makers. But we do definitely, our opinion is listened to, and I think we're very grateful to Kim Manning, the head of programming for Adult Swim, and Mike Lazo for allowing us to guide the block programming-wise, and I think it's worked, in fairness.
I don't think that we'll be doing Toonami Preflight episode 406 and looking back and saying they made us run X, Y,
Hamtaro,
the way we did Hamtaro.
I mean, basically, at the beginning of Toonami's life, because no one knew shit about anime at Cartoon Network, they kind of took our suggestions. In the middle, when it became a thing, it was sort of like, yeah, all right, let the big boys step in now. When it was sort of when Toonami was doing so well that toy companies were throwing money at it, and there were larger interests. Now we're back on Adult Swim, which is a much more homegrown network where decisions are made sort of at a much more micro level, and so we're allowed to participate like we used to be. So I'm very grateful for that.
Good luck with this name.
Next question is Rafts live on through me. Rafts lives on through me.
Ah, nice.
Is movie month going to happen at all anytime soon? No, Rafts. Next question.
Can Tom feel emotions?
Can Tom feel emotions is actually a very good question. The answer is yes. Tom can feel emotions. Tom's programming is a true AI. He is a thinking, sentient being. Sentient. That's a super inside joke, guys. Without any shade, Sean Akins sometimes used to call Tom a sentient robot. He meant sentient, and none of us corrected him. That's not his fault. That's really our fault, and we shouldn't be making fun of him, but it was still a funny thing. So yes, Tom is a sentient robot. He does experience true emotions, thoughts, and feelings, and he has a sense of morals. I think it started with a layer of programming, and then it's experiential, just like the rest of us.
That was a very good answer.
Next one. What can we, the Toonami faithful, do to repel the Weeaboo menace? You know what you can do? Just be chill.
Don't say Weeaboo menace, probably.
Well, no, you can say that. I would say that. Whereas if the defining trait of a Weeaboo is fetishizing Japanese culture and sort of being insular and not welcoming to new fans or popular shows because they're not the newest, most obscure shit, then what you could do is be the opposite, which is what we do, which is be welcoming, try to make new fans of this amazing art form, try to welcome people in and don't make fun of someone because they haven't seen a show that you think is a classic. Tell them instead, like, hey, you should totally see it. You're going to love it. Suggest things they might like. Be welcoming, be friendly, be cool. Don't be a dick, I think is probably...
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same
just
words.
Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Next question. The loveliest lies. I like your name. If money was no object, would you want to make a TV show starring Tom? Yes. Yeah. If I was that lady, I would take all that money and I would make a show starring Tom. CGI, unfortunately, is still expensive.
Costs more than $1,400.
It costs less than it used to, but it's still an expensive medium to try to work in. So maybe one day, you never know. We've had several pitches for Tom shows in the past, so we might dig one of those up or start something new.
Maybe. Will the Samurai Jack series have new episodes, or will it just be another rerun of the old episodes?
You're not very bright, are you, Anon?
Sadly, we made a huge announcement to just rerun the old episodes. We didn't want to spoil it.
Bringing Gendy back, and by bringing him back, we just mean he worked on the old shit, and so therefore the old shit's back. And
it's going to be
by proxy, he's back.
Old episodes of Samurai Jack presented by Gendy is how we're packaging the new show. So.
No, it's all new shit. Anon, take it easy. You can believe people occasionally. Next question. When can we expect the Toonami app to be updated to support earlier operating systems? That's a good question. Sean? Never seems to be his answer. So we don't have the money for that. You can expect it to be updated for current operating systems post-Intruder with a new look and feel. You might expect new activities later on down the line or new additional stuff. But unfortunately, we don't really have the money to ball like that to make it available for like previous operating systems. We're just not rolling in that kind of cash. Sorry, people who have old phones. I know it sucks. But if you upgrade your phone at some point, it'll be there waiting for you. Why does Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and One Piece only come on TV on Saturdays?
Because that's when Toonami comes on.
Yeah, I was going to say. Because just, every show you like doesn't come on every day. That's the way it works. So, if you can...
For now.
You can hunt all those shows down if you want more episodes and not watch them inside Toonami, but I like to think you would rather have the Toonami experience. So we're just going to move on and hope you do the right thing. Do the right thing. Don't be stupid, all right? Be smart.
It's true.
Don't make Santa come for you.
Crimson wants to know, what do you all do when the English dubbing process is still ongoing and have to wait for more dubbed episodes to come out / be available?
We stop down. We
wait, and sometimes we wait and don't put the show on until that's finished.
Or sometimes we take a break, like Space Dandy. We took a break. That was always planned to be 26 episodes. It was broken up into 2 seasons of 13 because they knew that we would have to have a break in the dubbing process. So that's usually what we do. If the show's super popular or we just really need to get something on the air, we'll put it on the air. We'll take a break and wait for the dubbed episodes to, add up and then start it again, or we will just wait in the first place and premiere it later till we have enough to not stop. Green Line 743 asks, how do you go about acquiring new shows for Toonami?
By force.
We take territory in a number of different ways, actually. Sometimes a distributor like Funimation or Aniplex or, any number of distributors, Sentai, will say, hey, we have these shows. Check them out. You might be interested in one of them for Toonami. We particularly like this one, Sometimes
we can't tell you which one that
sometimes it's us hunting shows down. Sometimes it's our head of programming suggesting a show. Kim is an anime fan. Sometimes she'll say, I think this would work. I think that would work. Sometimes a person from another company comes, and then it's all up to how much does the show cost? When is it available? How complicated will the rights be to work out? There's a number. Do they have an existing deal with Netflix or Hulu or another streaming service? Like, there's a whole bunch of factors that are involved. It's incredibly stupidly complicated, but that's kind of how it works. Next question.
Are the current episodes of Naruto filler?
We don't believe in filler.
Who cares?
So, yeah, who gives a shit? Next question.
Sonic the Cute 12. Do you think that there are 11 other Sonic the Cutes out there?
Yes, I do.
Is Tom 4 really dead?
Well, we only know that the intruder told...
Is anyone really dead?
We only know that the intruder told Tom 5 that he killed Tom 4 and that he does have Tom 4's voice. So I'd say the possibility is high, but we have no other evidence. So we're just going to have to wait and see if maybe we figure that story out at some point. But for now, it doesn't look good for Tom 4.
And the intruder always tells the truth, but maybe he's lying.
Rest his soul. Ali Alpha asks, will you guys consider airing an uncut version of Digimon, or at least try getting it to air on Cartoon Network? I'm sorry. The answer to that is no. That was a Fox Kids show. We never particularly liked Digimon. It certainly doesn't belong in this version of Toonami, and we are not any invested at all in trying to get it on Cartoon Network. So, sorry, Digimon fans. I know there's a lot of hardcore Digimon fans who believe it's better than Pokemon. That may be true, but it will forever be associated with Fox Kids, who sucks. And so it's also
that's their actual
it's also genuinely a kid show and can't be on Toonami now. So the window is closed for Digimon and Toonami Association. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, it's Harmony, which might be the most pleasant username.
Don't worry, it's Harmony.
Is Toonami planning on sticking with only newer anime, or will we see some old school shows / episodes here and there?
Sure, you're going to see Samurai Champloo right now. Yeah, we like to mix it up. I mean, we're not going to go that old, though, but I would argue DBZ is old. the One Piece episodes we're showing are old. Naruto's old. I mean, they're new to Toonami, but those aren't new shows.
Yeah.
Michiko and Hachin was out for several years.
Old to old school.
Yeah, it's new to you. So yeah, Toonami will. My perfect version of Toonami is a nice mix of short shows, long shows, obscure shows, new shows, and old shows that are all great and contain action. That's my perfect vision. Sometimes we lean more in one direction or another based on marketplace forces and things happening, but that's
also my favorite Dr. Seuss story.
Prince of Pugs asks, are you single? Now, I don't know if this question is for me, Gil, or Tom. Neither Gil or I are single.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're both married. But Tom
to each other
might be available, although he's a robot, so it's going to get complicated. You might want to watch Her.
His relationship status it's complicated.
You might want to watch Ex Machina and Her and sort of get a little information about dating AIs and robots. It can get complicated. Arthur Mesa asks, what was your favorite part of Intruder 2, Jason and Gil? Good question. Gil, you go first.
The cop-out answer, which is mostly the actual real answer,
Gil's big on cop-outs, guys.
Is being able to get it on the air. Having enough...
Of course, being able to do it, yeah.
Having enough resources and time and interest and fan interest and everything else to actually make it happen. In terms of a storytelling element, my favorite moment in Intruder was reading Dana when she was reading her VO for her ending Sarah speech when she was getting pulled offline, because it actually was super emotional to hear, and she did an amazing job. From a watching standpoint, I don't know what, I mean, there wasn't any surprises for me at that point, so I think that would probably be my personal favorite.
It bored him as a viewer. My favorite part is where Tom says, I'm not down with visitors who don't call first, because I'm not either. So I agreed with him, which is why I wrote the line. But
you won't just drop over out the blue.
I also really like the new environment, and I love when Tom opens the door. The animators did an amazing job, sort of echoing Star Wars and epic movies of the past. So that's a cool moment, I think. And yeah, I'm just happy we got the damn thing done. Next question. ISAF Mobius 18 asks, if TV censorship wasn't an issue, what adult or mature rated anime would you want to air that you cannot currently? Not really, because I don't really give a shit about that. I will say that we wanted to air Lupin, the woman called Fujiko, whatever, Mine, and we couldn't because it's got too many boobies, even for us. So that was
that sounds bad.
That was one that I wanted to put on. I thought it would be awesome after Michiko and Hachin, and it's new and it's really great show, but it just had too much nudity for our on-air censors to allow. So that would be one for me. Do you have one, Gil?
I wouldn't have thought of that, but I'm going to take your answer and put that forward.
Okay.
But like in terms of like a hentai show or like fan service,
or a super violent show like Berserk.
Yeah,
maybe Berserk. Berserk would be one. I don't think we can get Berserk on the air, and we're not hunting Berserk down. But Berserk would probably be one that may be a little too violent. Even
and I just
for
don't
us.
know how, like, what people's reaction, like, are people looking for that show from us? It's still like a weird line of
we have a lot of different people watching across. Yeah, we're never going to go too crazy hardcore. That's just not Toonami. Next question. Oh, it's
Shy Biscuits.
Shy Biscuits. Was it difficult getting Sonny Strait back as Tom 1? No.
No.
It was very easy.
It was difficult keeping the secret that it was coming on. Not that he was ever going to tell it, but
he
it
did
just
not.
was
But
a
we
fun,
did. But we did make him.
We
sign
felt like
that.
it was a fun moment that we didn't want to spoil, and it was just.
Yeah.
We went out of our way to make sure that everyone didn't leak it in this informationally happy era.
Yeah.
But I would say that was the most difficult part of the process, and even that wasn't all that difficult.
He signed a non-disclosure agreement.
So we were coming for his ass.
Vernononics asks, do you guys still have access to the old game resources for the Intruder Lockdown and Trapped in Hyperspace games? And if so, will you guys ever be able to release them into the wild again? I'm sorry, but the answer to that question is no. We don't have any of those game assets. Those were created years ago by lots of groups of other people, and we will never be able to release those games again. However, the Wayback Machine has a couple of them you can still play. So you can find them
That's
out there.
at waybackmachine.com.
You can go back. You can find a few of them out there. But yeah, those games are done. So
Dust in the wind.
yeah.
Ask Trancy Cosplay wants to know, how do we decide what shows / anime to air?
Whoops, we kind of already answered this question. See our earlier answer, Ask Trancy Cosplay.
We toss the bones on the table and we sear them into the future.
We climb to the top of the mountain and consult the oracle, and then the oracle tells us.
The spirit world is always a good place to start. What do you think this is?
Dechuri is always watching.
That's frightening.
I've been hearing about the return of Samurai Jack and was wondering if there would be any official streaming service. No, we're not Netflix. We're actually a network. We're not a fake network or a streaming network. We're a real network. We will have the Samurai Jack episodes streaming. I'm not sure where. I'm sure at some point they'll be up on the Adult Swim streams. I'm not sure when, though, and I'm sure you'll be able to get them on demand and all the other normal places you would get an Adult Swim show. But there's no particular streaming service that would be the official streaming service for Samurai Jack. I think if you really want to see Samurai Jack, you're going to have a cable or satellite subscription.
You will have to go through the authentication process.
Yeah. And Anon asks, why is this vintage series getting a continuation and added to Toonami instead of new anime?
Because it will be new.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The question was actually, why is Samurai Jack...
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured that it was...
getting a continuation and added to Toonami instead of new anime. Because it happened. Who cares? Why does everything have to be anime? Toonami has always been more than anime. Samurai Jack's an amazing animated show. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. But it's not our job to make new anime. And we own Samurai Jack. And I think it's wonderful that we get to bring it back. So... sorry, Anon.
So you're welcome.
Sorry to disappoint you with one non-anime show in years and years and years of hundreds of anime that we've shown. Next question is also anonymous. When is Adult Swim going to show new episodes of Naruto Shippuden and One Piece? Every week. New to us.
Yeah,
we haven't caught up with One Piece, which is now at episode 700 and
If we stopped Japan from broadcasting television and we wait 9 years, it would be then.
We are showing episodes of Naruto and One Piece that have not aired on TV before at this point.
And we're not going to skip ahead.
Yeah.
So for you, Anon.
All Animated 93 asks.
I think it's Alan I Mated 93.
All Animated 93 asks, since you have the Intruder 2 event, why not have a rerun on the previous Saturday's Toonami on Thursday nights?
That is some complicated math.
Yeah, Toonami's good. I love that people want Toonami more than once a week, but it's usually based on that it's more convenient for them to watch on a certain night. And right now, it's working on Saturday night, so I don't see us expanding beyond more than that night. And I am glad that everybody who wants it to feels that way, but we don't have enough critical mass for that. I mean, we
just keep watching Saturday.
Yeah, we're really happy about Saturday.
We're pleased to have you there.
We're really happy about Saturday, but it is the Adult Swim network, not the Toonami network, and they do pretty well on their own. Next question, Henry de la Cerda asks, has there ever been a show you regretted putting on Toonami? Only one that we picked, which would be Tenchi GXP. Because it ended up being a pretty shitty show, and we didn't think it was, but we didn't see enough episodes, and we learned a valuable lesson.
Never trust our instincts.
Yeah, other shitty shows that were put on Toonami were not our decision, and we don't consider them our fault. Those would include Hamtaro, which is not a shitty show, but a bad fit for Toonami. SD Gundam, not a bad show. Well, a bad show and a bad fit. Wulin Warriors, which was not a good dub.
27-ish of Toonami
Preflight. You take the next one.
Nick Christopic would like to know, would you guys...
Christopic. Nick Christopic. It rhymes.
I apologize.
Mr. Mixelplix.
For not...
Mr. Mixelplix.
Would you guys like to see a Cowboy Bebop prequel OVA for each character of the Bebop crew? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think Bebop has...
Please submit your script suggestions.
Bebop has such fascinating characters. You could totally do an OVA on each of their pasts. That'd be awesome. Good idea. Go pitch that.
But we can't accept unsolicited pitches, so please have your agent contact our development team. Justin Clarkson would like to know.
Oh, we're reading these guys' full names. Whoopsie.
Well, they put it on Facebook. So
yeah, I guess that's true. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
For not coming up with a fake.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Justin C. would like to know, have you guys ever thought about bringing Tom into the video game world?
Yeah, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, there's been some video games. I mean, obviously Adult Swim Games has an incredible amount of amazing games. But they work like all on their own. They don't really need a Toonami game, and Toonami doesn't need to be a game. So, I mean, it might be fun, but I'd rather do what we're doing now.
Like having Tom play games in the world and review it and have it be that narrative.
If you really want Tom in a game, he was in Sly Cooper 2 as an unlockable character. And, you could make a Tom in some games. We've done it before. We made an Animal Crossing Tom. But... yeah,
we might make a Fallout Tom mural if we can ever figure out how to do it.
I don't see Tom being in the video game world anytime soon. You never know, but it's not something we think about much.
Till now. Mark S. I guess we already. Any particular reason why Akame ga Kill has soundtrack music op-eds instead of shortened versions of the songs like with other shows?
Sure. That decision was made by Sentai. Those decisions are made by the distributor. I will say unequivocally, we cannot air full show opens. We always do when the show premieres. We make the time because we know fans love it, but we can't do it every week or else there would be no Toonami packaging. Hence, the Toonami in Toonami would have to be removed, and then you would just be getting your show, which some people would probably be fine with, but most people wouldn't. So
we wouldn't.
We ask the distributors to shorten the opens because we don't want to be the ones hacking it up arbitrarily. So whatever your beefs with it, ultimately, it's their decision. So I guess they felt that rather than cutting the song in half, they would take a soundtrack moment and do that. So if you really like the open for Akame ga Kill, I would say pull up YouTube and watch it until you don't want to watch it anymore because you don't need to see it every week. Eon Brown asks, why does Jason carry lunch from home? I guess this is from when Dana was talking about that Gil and I like to bring our lunch. I'll tell you why I carry lunch from home and I didn't today. And so what's going to happen today? Let's use today as an example.
What's going to happen today?
I didn't carry lunch from home because I was too busy this morning. So I am going to go to the cafeteria and eat something that I shouldn't because the salad is not good there.
Human meat?
They don't sell human meat, at least that they tell us about. I'm not going to eat something healthy, or I'm going to order food out, and either way, I'm going to eat something I shouldn't eat and get fatter. So that's why if I bring my food from home, it's generally healthier. This is a sort of white-collar workplace issue that many people deal with who have to work in offices. And in our office, the cafeteria, they do a great job, but I, for whatever reason, don't want to make the healthy choices at the cafeteria. So what I try to do is remove the choice from the equation by making myself a salad in the morning, and then you'd have to be a real piece of shit to bring in a salad and then ignore it and throw it all away and go eat trash. So that's why I do it. I don't know why you want to know, but now you know. Casey Cantrell, nice name, Casey Cantrell. You should be in a rock band. Asks, why was Tom 4's design so drastically different from Tom 1, 2, 3, and Tom 5? That is a very good question. Thomas the Tank Engine, Tom 4 there, our buddy, he was different because at the time, Sean Akins, who ran Toonami, had made a decision, look, we only had Tom have a motorcycle helmet look because we didn't have the technology at the time to animate lip flap and eye movements. The technology has become easier to use. We have a staff, and at the time we had a CG staff of four people. We have a staff. We can do this every week. Gil and I argued pretty bitterly with Sean about it and told him this is not going to be manageable week to week. This will result in us not being able to do as much Tom animation, which will result in the block feeling more stale.
You may not have noticed, but there's not new Tom animation every single week.
Yeah.
Not to spoil it for you.
And we couldn't afford the level to keep that Tom going, we couldn't afford it. And he wanted us to have more characters. So we had Tom, D, and Flash, all with facial animation. So doing anything became a huge
Undertaking.
Yeah, and unfortunately for everyone involved, Gil and I were right and Sean was wrong. Also, it turned out, and we also wanted to, growing all the other Toms, we had always had a comic or some backstory that explained why, because after Intruder, we felt like Toonami fans wanted a reason that the continuity changed. But Sean was of the mindset that all the original Toonami fans had moved on and a whole different generation of kids was watching, and they don't give a shit about the backstory. And I think that's partially true, but it turned out there was a whole bunch of people who had been watching and were really pissed off when we switched over and there was this new Tom. So it was a really good lesson for all of us to learn about how much you can change and how much you can't and still retain the soul of what something is that people love. But it wasn't a decision Gil and I sort of agreed with. It was a decision we executed because we're soldiers.
But it did look great.
I mean, the animation was done in RenderMan, which is Pixar's
literally
proprietary.
no other television.
Yeah, no one had done it before.
Or will ever do again.
And it looked amazing. And I to be clear, I don't hate Tom 4 at all. I think he looks great.
Wait, why do you hate Tom 5?
I think Tom 4 looks great, like Gil said. All the animation looks great. It's super high quality. It just
wasn't the Toonami that people necessarily were looking for as a vocal Toonami fan.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think people really hated him. Now they don't. Now they hate him less because he's in the rear view so much. And then the comics sort of helped. I think.
So in another 18 months, people will be nostalgic.
Bring
for
back
Tom
4, man. So yeah, good question. Brian Gunderson asks, "How old are you guys?" And Brian,
do you think that's like, oh my god?
And Brian, it's
not polite to ask.
It's kind of a weird question.
You never ask a lady how old
but
she is.
I don't give a shit. I'm 43, Brian. I'm old, baby.
I'm 41.
Old. Gil's 41. We are olds.
I think, yes, 41.
We are olds. So
we are.
One day you can come and replace us.
But you better bring a lot of friends.
Milton Alvarado asks, do you think that Toonami is a good gateway to introduce a new friend to music? I would say generally the answer is yes, because I've heard over the years from so many Toonami fans. I first heard about Daft Punk from Toonami. I first heard about Gorillaz from Toonami. I first heard about Run the Jewels, I've heard it so many times. Mastodon, I do think Toonami is a good way to introduce a friend to new music if you think they like
the actual question was a new friend to music. So
either way, but yes, I selfishly do think that based on evidence,
based on you introducing,
based on
the music,
it being a fact.
Travis Perry would like to know, is airing fan art themed bumps on television still out of the question? This is based off of our Fan Art Friday, which you can take part on in Facebook.
If you want to say that short, it's Fart Friday.
So send us your farts on Friday.
Send us your fart
to facebook.com/Toonami, which I have said wrong in the past, but I'm Facebook.com/Toonami. She's giving me the nod, yes. And maybe your name will get on the tape, and we will show you your fan art every Friday.
Your fan fart. But it's not going to be on TV because it's just... We don't want to use the TV for fan art because a lot of the fan art comes from younger folks, and it just feels like a sort of... When you put it on TV, it just feels a little bit too much like a kid thing. And, Facebook, we can choose the one a week that's obviously a very talented... But if we were soliciting... a ton of them, we'd get a decent amount of all kinds of people that used to watch Toonami or that tell their kids to watch or that have never seen it. We get all kinds of weird stuff.
I mean, we definitely like the submissions that we're getting, and we like doing it on Facebook, but we feel like that's a digital strategy, not necessarily a linear one.
That was a cop-out right there, guys, if you want to witness one. Ian Isberto asks, does the intruder have a weakness?
Yes, when the ship that he's standing on blows up, he is not as happy as he was prior to that point.
His weakness was his obsession with Tom.
His greed and his avarice.
I think his weakness actually was that he absorbed Tom and Tom's consciousness melded with his, and he wasn't prepared for that to happen. It wasn't prepared for that to happen, and he became a he. I think that was the weakness because otherwise it would have continued absorbing life forms, unchecked. And aspects of the intruder are probably still out there doing that. But this particular aspect of the intruder, its downfall was not knowing that would happen, and then becoming obsessed with destroying Tom 5, which didn't work out.
If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
He did not.
Eon Brown asks, will we ever be given a tour of all the floors on board the Absolution?
Not anymore.
Not right now, because it doesn't exist. So the answer is no. Not anytime soon.
Bryce Wiggins. You guys better not mess up Sam Jack. That's my bread and butter right there. A couple of issues with this one. One, that's not a question.
I wanted to ask about that, Bryce.
Two, your bread and butter, like you created it and you're getting your money off it?
Bryce, the term my bread and butter usually means how I'm getting paid. So unless you're working on Samurai Jack and or
do you think
selling Samurai Jack?
Do you think Indy's pen name is actually Bryce Wiggins?
You better not mess it up. By you guys, I mean me. That's the other thing is Gendy Tartakovsky, the original creator, is on board with a lot of members of the original team. So
they're not going to mess it up.
Yeah, so calm down, Bryce.
You're fine.
Next time,
your
ask
bread
a
and
real
butter
question.
is in good hands.
Yeah, first of all, figure out idioms and how they work, and second, figure out when we say it's a question, ask a question.
But keep watching, Bryce. We love you.
Just don't be a dick.
Justin Saria?
Yeah.
Saria. Is Toonami ending? Ellipses, question mark?
Justin, all things come to an end.
We're all dying.
We will all die. One day this universe will go dark.
Someday this war is going to end.
And nothing will live. Not
anytime soon, though.
Toonami is not ending anytime soon that we know of.
But if you know something that we don't know, please give us a heads up.
Yeah, if you've seen the future, please tell us.
Facebook.com/Toonami and let us know, because we have mortgages and families to
Jet
take care of.
Tiernan, I like your name, Jet. It's very Star Warsy. Jet Tiernan asks, can I access the Toonami app from the page? I guess you mean from Toonami.
From Toonami.com. There is a hyperlink to both the App Store, the iPhone, Macintosh-based for consumer-facing store, and Google Play. They don't call it Google Play Store, right? It's just Google Play. I think it's just Google Play for your Android devices. So you can access getting the app from the page. There is no way to access the app directly.
No, yeah, it's an app. So it's mobile only.
You got to go to your respective phone OS store and download the app, and then start amplifying the signal and enjoying the goodness.
There's no desktop version.
What level are you in the Toonami app?
I don't know. Level 1. I've pressed the button once or twice.
Okay.
I made sure the app got made. I think my responsibility ends there.
Clearly.
What level are you?
I like 200 and something.
Yeah, not bad. The last question that we are going to answer today is from Joe Sam. Will Dana Swanson still be involved with Toonami going forth? Excellent wording. Yes.
F&A.
Of course she will. Dana's the best.
This question was obviously submitted prior to knowing that Dana has rejoined the team as the voice of Sarah. That was a bit of a
head fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
storytelling technique.
She's kind of a different Sarah now. We're not sure what that means, but she's still Sarah, and it's still voiced by Dana.
So you're welcome.
Sorry.
So we successfully made it through 49 questions. We hope that you enjoyed that portion. We have
one sneak peek
to a Lord Raja music video. What's the name of the song? I don't remember.
It's not a music video, Gil. A sneak peek this week is for the Lord Raja free album.
Oh, I thought there's a video with it too.
That we are giving away. There's a commercial for the album. So let's go ahead and show the commercial for the album, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
Winter's chill has settled in, and cabin fever is imminent. Adult Swim and Ghostly International are here for you. It's called Para, an all-new full-length album from Lord Raja. 14 straight jams from the other side of the holiday doldrums. Get it free right now at adultswim.com/para. And don't say we never gave you anything. Only from Adult Swim and Ghostly International.
So yeah, Lord Raja is a ghostly recording artist whose music we've used in Toonami a bunch, and in Preflight, in fact. He's awesome. He makes amazing beats, and I love them. So an opportunity came about with Ghostly to release an album of Lord Raja music. So this is all original music. It's called Para, and all the information was pretty much in that spot. But it dropped yesterday, Christmas Eve. So if you didn't already know that, you should go and download it now. It's for all Adult Swim fans, but Toonami fans will recognize Lord Raja in particular just because we've used his music a lot. And this is all new stuff, and it's all just as good, and it's free. So Merry Christmas from us and Lord Raja to you. We hope you like the music. And, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. It'd be stupid to play the music here. Just go listen to it. It's streamable. It's downloadable. And we're going to use a lot.
Free.
If you like it, we're going to use a lot of it. We're going to use a lot of it in Toonami, so it will soon become Toonami canon, and you'll hear it on Adult Swim as well.
So the Lord Raja album is not filler.
Yeah. So if you like it, let us know, and we're going to do more of that kind of thing. We just wanted to give you guys a Christmas present, and Lord Raja wanted to give you a Christmas present too.
And one other, should we play it all back to back?
What? Oh, yeah. And then we're going to end the broadcast with a rebroadcast of the complete Intruder 2
box set
Master Cut Edition.
This is the Director's Edition, and you'll notice some slight changes where we just butt them up against each other.
Smashed it together, but otherwise it's the same. So this is what you're about to see is the whole of Intruder 2 back to back to back. And then we're done humping Intruder 2 for the foreseeable future on Toonami Preflight. So we hope you have an amazing Christmas. We hope these questions were enlightening. We hope we didn't make fun of you guys too much. We love you.
We hope we made fun of you a little bit.
We want you to have a great Christmas. We hope you enjoy the Lord Raja beats. And we will see you next week for another new episode of Toonami Preflight.
And we'll see you for Intruder 3, The Intruding, coming to a television station near you.
No. That's a joke. Merry Christmas!
Bye!
So the fox can't be on the same side as the chicken, but the chicken can't be on the same side as the cabbage?
Correct, but you can row back and forth.
Okay, so you put the cabbage...
Tom, I'm reading a large ship, unknown design. It's headed right for us.
Friend or foe?
Wait, I'm getting a distress signal. She's moving slowly, but appears to be undamaged. I can't scan her properly from this distance.
Hail on, please.
Attention, unidentified vessel. This is the Absolution, free ship. Registration key 031797. Please identify yourself. Your distress beacon has been activated. What is wrong with your ship?
She's still coming closer. Take us down to low burn and put her up on the monitor. Don't recognize the design. No damage visible. Any additional readings, Sarah?
Tom, it's firing on us. Powering up shields. Brace for impact.
Sarah, open fire. Full power. All batteries, now.
Spinning up all guns. Target acquired. Firing all.
Hell yeah. The first shot was free. Now your ass is mine. Sarah, did we disable her?
Her engines appear to be mortally damaged. She's just coasting now. Cannons appear to be... Wait, I'm getting another reading. Something is...
What the hell was that? Some kind of EMP?
Or virus. Took out most of our main systems. My core is shielded and so is yours. But most of our other systems are totally offline. I have no control of the ship, Tom. We're vulnerable.
This doesn't look good.
Most of the damage done by the EMP doesn't appear permanent. I'm working on rebooting as many systems as I can.
Wait, you see that thing? It's headed right for us. Doesn't look like anything explosive, but it's definitely about to ram us. Can you get the artificial gravity working? Ow! Okay.
Tom, I can't get the shields back online in time. I read no explosives, but there's definitely a life form aboard that vessel. Current trajectory has it hitting the aft of the Absolution, between levels 54 and 55.
Damn it. Are the elevators working? gotta head down there. Once it hits us, if we're still here, seal off any doors you can around it. I'm not down with any visitors who don't call first.
Be careful, Tom.
Oh, ye of little faith.
It's about to ram us. Brace for impact.
Who is this? Well, I guess we're still here. So whatever this thing is, it wants inside, not necessarily to blow us up.
Hall breached at the 54th floor, aft section.
What the hell could they want? What's in that section?
My AI core. Maybe they knew the EMP wouldn't take me out. Maybe it wants my core systems for something.
All the more reason to show at the door. Nobody's taking you on my watch. Let's see what you got, sucker.
Get out of there. My sensor readings have confirmed the identity of the intruder. It's the intruder. From before.
Wait, what? That giant blob that attacked us like forever ago?
Yes. There's something else mixed in with its DNA. Some sort of intelligence I can't seem to read. It seems familiar, but I don't know why. Tom, the intruder has eaten through doors 6 and 7. It's almost to the room housing my AI. It's right around the next bend.
At least I've got a better gun this time around. I may need an exit here, Sarah. Can you keep that elevator humming and prep the coolant blowers? It may slow this thing down.
It's almost at the core entry.
No. You'll have to do better than that, Tom. Oh, man, I make a really crappy bad guy. Stop me. What the hell do you want from me? To make you suffer, of course. Damn it. Sarah, he breached the core. Can you back up your systems?
I'm trying, but the backup servers were fried in the EMP. It doesn't look good, Tom. You need to get out of there. He's at the core console right now.
No! Can I get to him from another floor? There's gotta be a way.
It's too late, Tom. He's pulling me offline now. I'm fading. I can't see him.
Sarah.
Sweet victory. Do you know how long, Tom? Do you know how long I've been out there looking for you? Did you really think blowing off the engine of your ship would kill me? You can't kill me. but I can kill you. Oh yes, I can kill you. First, Sarah paid the price. And now, I control your ship. And I'm saving you for last. Just as your last body and consciousness became a part of me, changed me. Now your new body will do the same. And we will do such great things together, Tom.
I don't know why you're so obsessed with me. But you killed Sarah. And I promise, you're not gonna ever hurt anyone again. You hear that? Never again!
Oh, Tom, we share the same consciousness. There's nothing you can do that I won't think of first. And I've been chasing you for far too long to let you go now. I tracked your other self down on that distant moon where you were hiding, and killed him. But that wasn't enough. I found a record of a broadcast that led me to you directly. I've absorbed thousands of life forms and never had the trouble I've had with you. But that's all over now. Where are you headed? The bridge? I'll meet you there, Tom.
You're not on the bridge. Where could you be, huh? I damaged the escape.
You can't be hiding there. The engine core drive has been sealed off, so you won't be blowing me up. Where are you? I will find you.
Tom, you fool. Did you forget about the auto-locator you have embedded in your chassis? You're on level 22, and I'm coming. There's your locator, ass. Here goes nothing. Tom, I'm coming for you. Be ready! Where's the bridge on this thing? Cannons? Inactive. Thrusters inactive. Escape pods. Yes. Very close. Now, if I can just set one thing up. Nice try, fool. My ship's too damaged to take you anywhere, and the cannons don't work. Your ship, however, your ship's cannons work just fine.
Tom, whatever you're trying to do, it won't work. And I'm at
The Absolution's gun battery, which should be spun up in, just about 30 seconds. Thank you for taking yourself out of the picture. I hope you enjoy these last few moments of life. Yeah, I got some last words for you, pal. You want to hear them? Why not, Tom? You have about 10 seconds left, so make it quick. This is for what you did to Sarah. What? What's nearby? Some decommission, maybe. There. Perfect. Might be a bumpy landing, but I have just enough fuel to get there. Come on, baby. Be right. Sarah, is that you?
I think so. I'm missing some subroutines, and I've got all kinds of new information in my matrix. But I'm here. How did you do it?
I downloaded the entire Absolution's infrastructure mainframe, hoping that there was enough of you spread out through all of its systems that plugging all that back into a healthy mainframe might allow you to reconstitute.
Thank you, Tom. I'm not sure how much of the old me has gone forever, and what new parts I'll find, but I'm just happy to see your face. But I'm not happy to see your down an arm. Let's fire the space up and get you a new one, and maybe even find us a ship.
Yeah, I gotta get me an arm. Then we'll clean up this decrepit old place and see if it has a name. Might be a while before we can get our hands on a ship as sweet as the old Absolution.
And the intruder? He's gone?
Yep. Dust in the wind. Now, about my arm, did you find anything?
Take the left out of this room and hit the first door on the right. There's a molecular printer in there. I've uploaded the design, but the printer hasn't been active for a long time, so...
Hey, I'll take what I can get. Fire it up.
It looks good. How does it feel?
Well, it ain't perfect, but it'll do till perfect gets here. Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome. And by the way...
I know. We have a broadcast to do. Takes more than an insane intergalactic blob creature with an obsession to stop Toonami, baby. So, you ready?
I'm ready. Say the words, Tom.
Oh, yeah. I still love this job.
Welcome to another episode of Toonami Preflight. I am Gil Austin.
I'm Jason.
And today we are going to talk Gundam Wing and Endless Waltz. Are we going to do both?
Yeah, you know why.
Which is then going to be our favorite holiday episodes. Some of our favorite holiday episodes. We're going to take a look back at episode 6 of Intruder and a brief look forward at episode 7. We have a Bloom Room. And we have a One Man's Trash from yours truly. Another impressive feat of... This is almost borderline cheating One Man's Trash, but we'll get into that later on. Let's start off with some Gundam Wing. in our intruder spookiness.
Actually, should this all... I guess these graphics are these now right? Shouldn't it all be, at this point, episode 6 is aired, so shouldn't it all be signal lost, all these graphics?
I mean, at a certain point, we can't lose everything. It's
Anyway, so you guys will just have to bear with us on the reality of this.
Sometimes you see the puppet strings behind the glass curtain of Oz.
Well, why don't you tell us about Gundam Wing?